Gonna take it.
What's up? What's up? What's up? We live, we live, we live. Coach Bryant. What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday night. It's time for Hits and Heels, and we got some things to talk about tonight. My name is Coach Terry Bryant. This is Coach Cisco Bryant, and we both coach. I'm sorry. We both coach middle school football. He has been coaching high school football and baseball for 11 years.
Yeah, wow.
And he made me a football coach. Prior to that, I was a track coach and a basketball coach, and I still coach track. And we have a son that plays football at the University of Kentucky. We have a daughter that also was a stellar athlete in track and basketball. And so we're a sports family. And so we created Hits and Heels just to give a voice because I love promoting women's tackle football and women's sports. And I just don't think a lot of those things get talked about enough. But sometimes we talk about the men's stuff. Coach Bryant said that women's basketball would be better if they would just lower the rim.
Okay. Yes. Okay. And see, she threw that out there like it's a bad thing. What do they do with women's volleyball? They lowered the net. I'm just, it would be unbelievable. The athletes in the female game, they can cross, jump, and dunk. Yeah, it's just me. I think it'll be nice. You cross over, go behind the back, and dunk. Boom. You know, so I'm okay. That's all I mean.
Okay, I get it.
They dunk. I mean, you go, ooh.
Okay, I get it. Well, anyway, I want to talk to you about yesterday where I took a trip to Montgomery. Where I took a trip to Montgomery County. And one of our babies.
Yes, back in the day.
Yeah. Ethan Dunn signed to play basketball, not football.
Yeah, because see, here's the thing is I was so happy he came out because he was a basketball player.
He loved the game, but he would have been a cold football player.
Well, even though I tried to kidnap him, and his dad didn't allow me to kidnap him.
He was cold at football.
I was going to kidnap him and make him a football player, but Dad knocked on that door. They get my boy back. So, but it worked out. It worked out.
But he was one of our babies, and
Crawford Middle School
at Crawford, and our second year.
Yeah,
was that first year or second year?
It was second.
I can't remember.
It was second or third.
And but it was early on. It was one of our first couple years.
Before Mr. Dunn comes on, let me just say this: what made him so special is he didn't really know football, but he was what we call in coaching. He was so coachable.
Yes.
I would tell him to do that. I remember the Tate Street game, and they were blocking down on him. He goes up and goes, "Coach, what am I supposed to do?" And I said, "Do this, do this, do this." He just looked at me. I didn't think the brother was paying attention. So I said it again. And he was processing the information. So that's why he was able to do what he did yesterday inside. Because coaches
such a coachable kid.
Love that. And that's a factual story. And he balled out, done his thing, and made me look great as a football coach. So
we're gonna bring his dad on, Brennan Dunn, because he has a great story.
Okay.
He has one of those stories that needs to be told. And so I'm so glad that he came on tonight at the last minute, because when we were he got real emotional yesterday when we was talking about
his babies. Hey, what's up, Mr. Dunn?
What's up, y'all? What's going on?
What's up? So he got real emotional when he was just talking about just Ethan's journey, because it took him a while to kind of find a sweet spot on what was the best fit for him.
Yeah.
And so Mr. Dunn, I just want you to just talk about his journey. Some of the things that other parents really need to know, because you guys really were intentional about what he wanted, how he was going to do it, what was the best fit for him. And y'all went through it.
Hold on, let me say this before you answer that question. What do I say all the time? Parents do what they think is best for their child.
Yes.
Everybody's got a comment about everything. You do what you think you discuss it with your young person, male or female, and you did that, and I don't know if you remember when I think he was at Bryan Station, and I looked at you and I said, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I definitely do.
I said, remember I just said it out of the book, keep doing what you're doing. And this same story is like, to me, it's like Talbert with his two boys.
Uh-huh.
Because everybody's got an opinion on how you should raise your own
what
child.
you should do and how you should do.
So please tell us that journey. And I just want to know if you remember that. I said it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I remember all the way back to NYSP camp.
Whoa. You're showing my age, bro.
Hey, I'm not going to say how old I was. Yeah, but it was I grew up wanting to play ball. I mean, I remember I just wanted it. So my first thought of life, wife, one boy, one junior, basketball. That was it. So I started with my son BJ, and I remember taking him, to the gym. His mom was sitting with blocks and trucks. He wanted to play with blocks and trucks. Took him to basketball games. He wanted to interact with the cheerleaders. And I was just like, I'm not going to do it. I mean, he was probably 3 years old. But at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm going to let my kids be who they are. I'm not going to force any sports. I'm just going to let them do whatever they want, And then I think Leon Mack, had the Blackbirds. My oldest son at this time, he was a big kid. We didn't do any extracurricular activities. I was working, had my own business, and then worked on the side part-time. So, I was coming home, going to sleep, and working. So then I said, we're going to get my son BJ in some football. He's a big boy. We took him to a practice. He stood around for a little bit. We came home. I'm like, what do you want to do? And he said, I want to ride my bike. I'm like,
is that a choice?
Well, then it's the journey. I'm a new age kid and a father. So it was a choice, but the choice was, if you play, you're going to play. Yeah. But if you want to ride your bike, you can ride your bike, but we're not going back and forth. So I let him ride his bike. And it wasn't until maybe a year later, the Ravens, I guess, split from the Blackbirds. I took BJ to practice. Ethan still almost wore costumes. He was real big on costumes, to where I let my kids dress themselves. And it's not Halloween, but if they want to walk around the store in Halloween costumes and Batman superhero costumes, they can. And Ethan loved the muscles. So they did. And then we took him to a practice. Ethan did not want to play. BJ wanted to play, but then Ethan said, Daddy, if I play, can I get a uniform? I was like, absolutely. So he didn't want to play. He wanted a uniform. So because he thought that was cool. So he started playing, and I think I got them that year. Ran into Quentin Roberts, that's my homeboy, and he got him on the Nuggets. It wasn't the 859 Nuggets. It was the Nuggets, because the 859 was his AAU team. So Ethan was the youngest on the team. BJ played. He put him out there, and Ethan just was defending everybody on the court. And Quentin was like, man, he's tough. I mean, he's tough. He can play. And since that time is when we just started the journey with travel ball. AAU, I've never coached before. So I started interacting. A few years later, took over the team. Quentin was burnt out. And that's where really when our journey began, because it like I told the story at the gym, I took all three of my kids, we tried it again, and we went to the Charles Young Center, and we started running gases. I'm like, yeah, we're going to get to it. We're going to do this. BJ, my oldest boy, he started crying. He's like, I'm done. I'm not doing it. My daughter, Nina, she finished, but she was like, yeah, I'm cool. So I look back at Ethan, and he just had the biggest smile on his face, like,
too easy.
Keep it.
He was smiling, and he was pumped. So we started out early with a travel ball. And that's really where the journey began, going out of town, traveling, seeing something new. And there really at that point wasn't a destination. Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry about that.
Oh no,
You
you're
good?
good. You're good. Now, what age is your kids at this time?
Ethan, once we really started the AAU and started getting into it after we started 9. I mean, they were 9. And I mean, they had Makai, Man, Ball, Layton, from Woodford County. You end up playing football.
I mean, Layton 240 now.
Yeah, we were stacked. I mean, we had probably the best 9-year-old group around, and I mean,
that team is stacked.
We busted teams. Lil Santee came on about a year or so later. Wade. I mean, we just really just destroyed team. Little Mari played on the team. He played on our squad.
I got a question. Did you start the NIL before NIL?
Man, I think Q. I don't know what that boy had, but I mean,
I'm just messing. That's a lot of
those are some
talent.
Horses. Oh my goodness.
The only guy we couldn't get or never played on our team was Jasper. Dennis, he'll come around and look and so to the point he's like, man, what you doing is, I'm like, listen, bro. I know I ain't gonna get him. I ain't gonna get my hands on him. Don't even do that to me, dog. But we when he played for Blue Rain, we got them. We'll go back and forth. Then they got that super team and went over the team breakdown, and then they started spreading out, and then they start doing the Louisville Magics, and then that's when they start getting up on the leagues. But we really started at 9. And I mean, from that time, once we really hit like the 5th grade, I mean, we was like Memphis, Tennessee, Indianapolis, Ohio. We was like in the Midwest, and we was hitting it hard, and we was winning. But the journey with me and Ethan really didn't really start until like I took over the program, because then I'm now a father coach. I have superior athletes on the team, and Ethan was he was always the hardest worker, but he at this time he was never the best. He just worked hard. He didn't care anything about being one of the smallest on the team, playing the 4 position and not shooting the ball. So he didn't care about shooting. He wanted to rebound, defend. He couldn't really dribble. He couldn't shoot, but he worked hard and he defended. So after we started getting around that 5th grade, that's where really when it was like, we got to work, bro. I mean, so we was gyms, Dunbar Center, Charles Young, outside Douglas Park, outside at the house. We was doing ladder drills. And he started picking up to where we was like, we're going to get you ready for middle school. Yeah. And he played up. He was over there with Booker at Crawford. He played up, and, that's really where it started, to where every year was in preparation to where I want you to play up. I don't want you to play your grade. I want you to play up and, maximize your potential to see where exactly you are. And being daddy ball in the summertime, I had to coach him harder, because it was always that he's a coach's son. He's only out there because he's a coach's son. So if kids weren't getting the time that they felt like they deserved, it always fell back on he's not that good. And then whisper, daddy ball. So I never wanted to be that daddy ball to where he didn't earn his time, but he earned his time to where I coached him hard.
Because he played and he worked hard.
He worked hard, and I would sit him on the bench. So it wasn't that, so he couldn't mess up, because I always had to make examples that, yes, this is my son, but he's out there because he's good and he's competitive, not because he's my son. So
that makes it a whole lot easier to coach your son And I was in that same position, not taking the moment away from what you're saying, in that same position with Ty. And the greatest thing, because I coached your son, so I know for a fact, is it go back to what we said, he's coachable. And he listens. So it's a whole lot easier coaching other people's kids when your child is doing what they're supposed to do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, and that's coaching him tough. That was a thing to where, as a father, as a man, and I was aggressive, especially early on. It's very aggressive. So dealing with me and then dealing with somebody else that's probably not gonna be that tough. It's like, I deal with my daddy. He's this guy kind of loony.
I can deal with my dad. I can deal with anybody. Yeah,
I mean,
that's what John Morant said, isn't it?
Yeah, because that was a journey to where it would get tough to where, Ethan's, he's a lover. He's like, he was the easiest baby to come out. He didn't cry. He's always a good kid. So early, I might come in and I get on Ethan, and then I might leave the room and I see his mama with him on her lap, and I'm like, what the hell? What are you doing? You. So it got so bad to where she was like, listen, bro, you gotta be his daddy too. So you can't be basketball all the time. So it was okay. I'll make a deal. We can talk basketball in the car and in the gym, but when we get to the house, it's over.
Yeah.
So we'll literally be on the porch, or I'll be on the porch talking to him. His mama's at the door listening and hearing because it's emotion, because the people that didn't believe in Ethan, and that's another thing. He was always the underdog. So I always believed in him. Like, listen, bro, I believe in you. I know your potential. So it wasn't that I was just overbearing. It was, I truly understand your potential. If nobody else does, it's there, man. It's really there. You're just gonna have to want it and work for it. Cause some people are like gifted to where they can go play ball and not play for a year and come back and pick up right where they were. Ethan, you need to practice, and I understand you have to practice. Your athletic ability is good. Your defense is good. But we're talking about shooting has to be good. Understanding of the game has to be good. So you're gonna have to work at this and want to work at it. And that is, where a lot of our journey was, because I remember one day I was on him and I think he told his mom, he was like, when I signed up for basketball, I didn't know that I was signing up to sell my soul. So I'm like, damn.
Sell your soul. It was that deep?
It was that deep because I'm like, damn, bro, you only working out an hour, 2 hours, and then you got the rest of the day. But of course, a young kid is like, but if I don't want to, but you're forcing me to, and I don't get to do other stuff. But at the same time, I'm still gonna keep you busy. And like I asked you, so what do you want to do? What don't you do? We go to trips, we go out of town, we go to amusement parks. You might work out what is it that you want to do that you don't want to do, that you can't do if there's 24 hours in a day or 12 hours in a day and you work out for an hour and a half? What aren't you doing? But that was like, I guess, me, like the drill of like 6 a.m.s and weight rooms and doing squats and preparing him for what I feel like is going to take for him to get to the next level, because I never did. And like I said, all the time, I had ability to go to K-State with James Coles. He was coaching. He see me at a game. Okay, you want to come? K-State gave me a card. I kind of didn't call him. Seen him playing on TV against UK. Following year, administration changed. He was no longer there. Jericho Gorey came and, hey, we need a point guard. I was in love with my wife, who was then my girlfriend. I didn't want to be that far. So without even asking anybody for advice, it was just, So now when it comes time to talk about collegiate basketball, I gotta be like, hey, I could play. Let me call this guy. Let me show you my high school stats. And that vouch for a system of never playing collegiate basketball and then even trying to recruit. You know how many players I lost because it's like, that nigga ain't never played no college ball. He don't. So it's serious. So then I can say I'm good and tell him, Coach Bryant, what the dude said, I could have played. I was good. You're going to be like, yeah, oh, every nigga say that. You know, they ain't never played. You know, that's what that
I love that analogy because I get that as being a coach. I get that a lot, Coach. And everybody's good until they actually have to go do it.
Yeah. I get it as a football coach. You didn't play football, so what do you know about coaching football? Yeah.
Well, I think in that mindset, what he's basically saying is a lot of people don't put in work.
They don't.
Am I correct?
They don't.
And then they're looking at you like, oh, I'm better than this person.
Yeah.
Yep.
But again, they don't get their grades. They don't get their behavior because it's easy to be the man when you are not put in position to show if you're the man.
Right.
That's easy.
It's easy
or
to
the
just
woman.
talk. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because, that's amazing. And it's so funny, speaking of talk, the other day we were sitting there watching a NCAA game and a dude came behind his back and he dunked. Boom. And I turned around and looked at the student and I said, did you see me play basketball? He said, no. I said, I used to do that. So the point is, as long as, I don't do it, I say it, you're supposed to believe me that I can play.
But then as they get older, when the kids are like, like they say, my Wingate told me, he was like, man, people talk to people who they're aspiring to be like. So if you got kids on the block that are looking to be whatever, they're not going to talk to Coach Bryant about being a dope boy or being a gangbanger. They want to talk to the gangbangers. So when you're aspiring to go to college and play in the NBA or overseas or wherever, and they say, man, where did you play college ball? I'm like, well, I play high school. And this is like, well, shit, everybody play high school.
No, but that's not true.
But in their head, it's like, let me go over and talk to him because they said he was good, So that is like, you felt like you were, but if you never did it, you like I never was. So, I have a beautiful wife, 4 kids, and we're married. I remember Terry Givens telling me, he's like, bro, listen, man, y'all ain't going to be together forever. I mean, focus on basketball, bro. I mean, it's focus.
Right. What?
Yeah, but I was in high school.
Oh, gotcha. Okay,
gotcha.
Okay.
He's like,
now, I can see that.
Oh, yeah.
High school.
High school. You don't think you're going to be that. Oh, yeah. You think it's
he's bringing me cheeseburgers to the Salvation Army. I'm going to go get me a cheese. My girl out here. So, so that was like one of the things to where what made like the journey of like everything is grinding to, play at Dunbar with Bake, and then Bake gets the coaching job at Paris. But before Paris, Ethan was at Lafayette. He tried out for Lafayette. Now, it was like we had Man. We all lived in the same
that was his freshman year at Lafayette?
No, it was his 8th grade year at Crawford. But what happened, BJ, I do everything for my kids, man. So BJ was in trouble. He ended up going to Frederick Douglass. The Frederick Douglass people said he made the team, but they didn't have any more uniforms. So I'm like, well, hell, I'll buy a uniform, bro. I mean, what? See what I'm saying? So
I'm sorry. We're not supposed to do that.
But I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. We're look at them like,
so
$50.
So my mentality is, well, we'll take you somewhere else. You could play against Douglas, and then we're gonna use that as a slap in the face. Cause okay, so I called Lafayette, and I'm like, and this is what I always do, call Lafayette. They said, yeah, I talked to the coach. Of course, he was a bouncer at KBA, so I knew him. So, or as a security guard at KBA. So I'm talking to him. He looked at my boy. He's like, hell yeah, man, you nice. Feeling his shoulder. He's a big boy. So then it's like I called the coach, the high school coach. Hey, coach, I got an 8th grader. Do y'all play him up? So I'm always putting things in, in order. At that time, we were supposed to be going to Lafayette. At Frederick Douglass. But then my grandma lived on Upper Street, so I changed my address. So then Man and him, I was talking to the coach of Frederick Douglass. I still took Man, a big tall kid, Day, Rashad. I still took them to the 9th grade tryouts. And then I went over and tried out with Ethan. Well, he tried out. He didn't only make the freshman, but he made freshman and varsity as an 8th grader. So, I'm like, I'm not going to take that away and then go try out for Frederick Douglass too. So we're going to stay at Lafayette. So we enrolled at Lafayette, of course, his freshman year. George Baker called and was like, hey, bro, we need him down here at Paris. So we went to Paris. So, but that's still on his transcript, Lafayette, Paris. It's his freshman year. Things didn't work out with Bakes, like I told Bake, like, bro, I'll play with you. You a killer. I need you to turn my son into a killer. Mm-hmm. But Bake's a lover though. on the court, he's something different, but in person, he's a genuine nice guy that wants to help kids and be a father figure. But it's admirable. But my son got a daddy, and we're trying to go over here. So our kids are over here allowed to do this because they need that. We don't. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's kind of standing in the way of our progress. So I salute what you're doing, and I love Bake. He still worked my son out. He still made calls for Ethan. But we got to go somewhere else. So we end up going to Bryan Station, Coach Brown. Coach Brown was assistant coach. Coach Liggins is a head coach. But Coach Brown, if you know Coach Brown was the OG, and Coach Brown ran the show. Coach Brown loved Ethan. Ethan wasn't Coach Liggins' guy. So Ethan's freshman year, because he took the COVID year at Station, Coach Brown coached Ethan up and took Ethan under his wing to produce Ethan into what he called a super point guard and the leader. He took Ethan out to dinner, steaks, and this man got buku money. He's a millionaire. Ethan, we go out to Texas Roadhouse. He's talking about, yeah, Coach Liggins said you go to a steakhouse, you get steak. You don't get, listen, bro. You getting chicken tenders, bro. I don't know. When you go out to eat with Coach Brown, y'all get the biggest steaks y'all can get. But we got chicken tender money. Me and your mom get us a nice steak. You got a piece, but you get chicken critters, bro. So he took him under his wing. Then he fell ill, and we had that conversation about playing football. So we didn't know at the time that Coach Brown had cancer, and it was terminal. So when he found out that Ethan was playing football, Coach Brown and Coach Hawkins, who was a coach at Bryan Station, he told Coach Hawkins, like, y'all can recruit basketball players. Stay away from Ethan, stay away from Biggers, stay away from this guy. This is our core guys. And if you recruit these guys, our system is going to break down, and we're not going to have the start of our program that we need to build up around. So when we were playing it, we went in for the summer, that going into a sophomore season to play football. Our man Haskins invited him to a camp. He did pretty good at the camp. But as we kept calling all summer, like, we see y'all doing 7-on-7s. Y'all got my son cleats, y'all got him helmets, y'all recruited him. We coming, we ready, but where's the emails for us to get in to these camps and y'all traveling and we want to go? But they never put us in the text groups. You know, I'm calling. He said, "Oh, this dude handles it. This dude handles it." So then come the time for football, fall, he sends me a text and says, "Is Ethan gonna play or not? I don't care either way. I just got him on the roster, and if he ain't, I need to take his name off the roster." But before this, Coach Hawkins found out, like, wait, what? We so me and him had a conversation, and he told me, he's like, "Listen, bro," I said, "Ethan's the best one in this gym. He's the best one in the gym. So what difference does it make if he plays football or not?" And this is not me not knowing that he's got terminal cancer, and he's sending me all this stuff like, "This is the last run. This is the last run we're gonna have. This is gonna." So once he found out, like, hold on, my point guard's playing football, he was like angry. And I didn't know why he was so angry at that point. So when I walked in the gym, I'm like, "What's up, bro?" And he's like, "Man, Ethan said he's playing football, and we got practice, and he's at the football field." But I told him to come on there, and I was like, I told him to go ahead and talk to you. So Ethan was in the gym, and I'm like, "Look around, bro. He's the best one in here." And he said, "Man, we've been getting kids from everywhere, and the only position we weren't looking for was a point guard position." He said, and everybody thought they were the best one in the gym until Ethan came, and things changed. He said, "So things can change for Ethan too." I'm like, "So what you saying?" So then he's like, me and him, he was older. I respect him. So we didn't get out of pocket, like, like disrespectful. But it was like, "You're not going to tell me what my son can do and what he can't do." So then we had another guy that was with them, and he called and said, "This is what's happening." And then he passed away like a couple weeks later. And, and then, Maury popped up. And Maury is Coach Liggins' guy, the head coach. So now he put Ethan on the wing, Maury PG. Coach Brown said, "Man, we made a mistake putting Ethan on the wing. He's a point guard. We don't want him on the wing." So we had a good season. He played well, but my oldest son was in trouble. He was in Lexington. He had some cases pending. So as a father, going through this legal trouble, he had a heart-to-heart with my wife, and she said, "What can we do to get you on the right track?" And he said, "I need a fresh start. So I need to get out of city, get away from everything." So we started looking and finding where we could go 45 minutes away from town to where we could commute back and forth to work. So a lot of whispers was like, I left Bryan Station because I was unhappy. I got recruited, but we left because it was a family decision to save my son's life ultimately. And it was bad. It was really bad. So we moved for my son, and I called, like I say, any place we went, I'm calling the coach. I called Coach Bentley. Coach Bentley was 18 and 12 at the time in Montgomery County.
Right.
We love Ethan. He knew who he was
already.
And I'm happy. He's happy. We moved. We closed. My man Vince from Great Crossing, Vince Dawson, Senior, his son plays. He's like, "Bro, man, y'all stacking." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Man, I see y'all got Jason Mays. I was on Prep Hoops looking like, who is this Jason Mays kid?" And I'm like, "Honey, who is he?" And he's like, "He's the coach." So I'm like, "Dang, what happened to Bentley?" He's like, "I don't know, but Mays is." So I'm calling Bentley like, "Hey, bro," but he's not answering. Like, he was done. So Ethan's junior year, Coach Mays was the new coach for Montgomery County. And that's where things kind of got shaky. Ethan played well, but certain things just didn't add up. Just the way that he coached hard and it's coaching hard and it's coaching down. And if everybody knows Ethan, he's not a head case. He's not a type of kid that needs to be coached very aggressive, even though I coached him aggressive, but it was out of love. And it wasn't, why are you doing this? It's go kill that man. You know, he can't hold you. You know, go around him, look up, defend. Why are you letting him get around you? So it was out of love, like, I know, go to work. But the way Mays coached him was it was disrespectful at times. So when you seen the disrespect, and it's kind of like, I'm a tough coach. I was when I was younger. As I got older, calm. But just the way he coached the other kids. So then you look, and it's like, there was a player on our team, his grandparents were there, and they were yelling insults at Ethan. We was at Woodford County. Ethan played very well at Woodford County. So the way they were talking, then the film came out, and they were talking, thank you, baby, talking even worse on the film. So I said, I'm going to go down here and talk to this guy. So when I first seen him, he was like, I'm like, listen, bro, as your wife is very disrespectful. He's like, oh, I said, but we're supposed to be on the same team, and the way you're speaking towards my son in public, I can't let that slide, bro. So he's like, well, do you forgive me? I'm like, he's like, we're not from here. We're from a small town. We don't get out much. And I'm like, but that's no excuse to yell insults at a kid that's not even that's on your team. I thought y'all were opposing teammates for Woodford County, but then y'all parents or grandparents of kids on our team. So once that happened, you kind of start, and you see these people who are very cool with the coaching staff, and they having conversations, and they seem very cool. So then that opened my eyes up to start looking like, Ethan, do y'all still vote for team captains? He's like, yeah. I said, who was voted? Me and Brett. How do you know? Because they don't hear these kids. They don't care. They'll tell you. Have you ever been a team captain, Ethan? No. But everybody else has. Everybody else. Are you freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors? The only kid that was never a team captain. You know, he scored several points at the Billy Hicks Classic. Hit 7 threes in a game. Balled out. Everybody knew he was going to be the player of the game. It got down to the end of the bench. They called out another player. Everybody in the gym is shocked. So I go over to the scores table. Was like, man, I keep stats on the games. What happened? So then the dude that kept the stats is at a Great Crossing. He said, man, I said number 4. Is that your son? I was like, yeah. He said, we say who it is, but the coach makes the ultimate decision on who gets. So I'm like, dang, for real? So he's like, yeah. So he approached me in the hallway and was like, man, I feel so bad for you. Here's passes. How many people's here? So he gave us passes to get in the Billy Hicks Classic for the rest of the weekend and get free food and everything in the guest reception hall. So last year, even with the great season, he's the only player on the team that never got any accolades for player of the game or all tournament teams. So if you say, okay, he didn't get it this game, a guy hit a shot at the end of the game, but Ethan was a leading scorer. You know, another guy that never played in another game before or in the tournament, didn't even play a game and sat on the bench. Ethan had more points than him the total tournament, and he was a freshman, got a all tournament player of the game. You know, the senior season, you know, the senior got an all tournament player of the game, even though Ethan had more points. I mean, so it's just like once you start looking at that type of stuff, it's like you look at the huddle footage. There'd be games where Ethan wouldn't be in the highlights. So I went and bought a camera to make highlight videos to showcase. I'm like, okay, maybe it was a mistake. Maybe it was a mistake. But then it starts happening and nobody else is not in everybody else is constantly in the huddle highlights. But my son's not. or he might score 18 points, and then his highlight says that he has 2 steals, and then one of the steals might be a layup, and then they cut the layup off and say 2 steals, and then at the end of the tape it says 18 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, and 2 steals. So if college coaches are watching these things,
they're
it's
missing
kind of-
the main point because they're only watching the first 10 seconds.
Well, I get. Okay, this is his junior year, right?
this is his junior year.
Okay, you know what? God is heavy in your heart. It has to be. Because I mean, again, your son stayed there and played his senior year.
Well,
with all that coming at my child, I mean,
but
man.
hey, but you know me too, coach. So this is what's up. He was a junior, but he took the COVID year. So me as father, you know, I sold him as a senior to coaches that he's a senior.
Right.
So I've called. He had a coach at in California, Christian Community College. O'Hara at Sussex wanted him. Millersburg, John Millersburg in Louisiana, they wanted him. Scott said he'll go ahead and take him. So he had 4 landing spots. He was kind of waiting on Simmons, College of Kentucky, to go there. Now the kick was, I'm not gonna take your graduation from you. So if we're gonna do it, you need to do it like right now. So you remember what I told you? This is where it comes back full circle. Lafayette, Paris, Bryan Station, Montgomery County. So I'm not taking you out of town to play at another school. My job as your father is to get you on the next level. So I'm going to get you and I'm going to send you to New Jersey, bro. I'm going to send you. That's where I want you to go because that's the best program. His mother wasn't ready. Ethan was kind of on the fence. But now we coming into May. I'm not going to take your graduation from you. So if we could get offers in the summertime, but then we reclass, but then your mother doesn't get to watch you walk across the stage. That is another monumental thing to where I'm not going to steal that from him because it's still in my head, still in your soul. So I still listen to these things to where it's important for you to walk. But I told Ethan, I don't know what this man is going to do, but if you stay, whatever he does is not going to be good for you. It's not. You had a good enough season to go play collegiate ball this year. So now I have to put these coaches on ice like it's a COVID year because then they start looking at it like, hey, man, he's a junior. And I'm like, no, we're going to reclass and he's going to come out. But would you still take him the following year? Would the offer still be good? And they're like, hell yeah, but we want him now. But so, I did my work and I'm like, bro, do you know emails and phone calls to me grinding to get you out of this situation because I know people. It's not going to get any better. I don't want you to go back. I don't like this dude. And I'm not going to take you to Bourbon County. I'm not going to take you back to Lexington because now, even though I work in Lexington, that means I got to pick up my wife, come back home, come back to Lexington, and then come back. And I have 2 kids practicing at the same time. So it would have been an awful lot. So that's how we ended up here. And that's a lot of the pain too. Like, I try to save you from this, dude. I didn't want you going back. And I could have been, like I said earlier, overbearing father, like, you're going, but I got a wife too. So she wants her baby. Like, are you crazy? I got to be like, man, we got other people. Jasper's out of town, Santee, and because it's local. So, but she's like, I don't care. That ain't got nothing to, I'm not sending my son to New Jersey. I'm not sending my son to California. He's not ready. And then it's kind of like with me, I'm looking at Ethan like, I've been fighting for you. I want you to fight for me and say, you're supposed to be like, Daddy, I'm ready. Mama, I'm 18. I'm gonna be 19 because I got the COVID year, but shit, I'm ready. But since he didn't, then he wasn't ready. So I didn't force him. So this year, you know, it was exactly what I knew it was gonna be. I knew Caden was coming. I think the only reason he didn't come was last year is because it's his brother, and his brother's a shooter. But we got Fonz, his father's athletic director. Well, not athletic director, but he's basically over the city. And looking at his son, wanting his son to break his records, which his son is good. Reed wouldn't. No, that boy is something different. He gonna put that ball up, and we probably would have been in a good position if he did, but I don't think that fit with what Montgomery County was looking for. But bringing in his younger brother this year was, so I knew he was coming. You know, recruitment goes around and words come around. They were recruiting PGs and point guard positions all year. I mean, we played Douglas and Ethan had like 15 points. He was balling. Lavelle put out a tape and he's telling to Ethan to say, "Hey, bro, you shouldn't put out tapes of bad games." And Ethan's like, "I had a good game." He's like, "Well, nah, it wasn't. You had several turnovers, and you don't put stuff up like that." You know, he got hurt his junior year. He was the second leading scorer on the team, shooting 40% from the three. Coach wanted to rush him back. I said, "No, we're not doing that, bro. If we rush him back and he's hurt, he's not going to play with confidence."
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think he's confident anyway. He's not a point guard. I'm like, "What are you talking about? You know, he's shooting 40%. Y'all not winning, but he's playing good. Well, when he comes back, we're going to change things up and we're going to put him on the wing and we're going to try to have a freshman run point guard." That didn't work. His stats dropped. Put him back at point guard. Stats went up. Finished the year pretty strong. But that's why he was only averaging 10 opposed to probably 16 because you played him out of position. And if Ethan would score a big first half, like for instance, Rowan County, I guess they call it Rowan County. You know, he had about 20 points in the first half. Instead of going back to him the second half, they'll change it up and put him on the weak side, run plays, get the ball to everybody. We ended up getting beat by 20, and he ended up scoring 2 points in the second half. So it's always that reoccurring thing is if he's hot and he's cooking, we're going to go away from him in the second half, try to get everybody else involved, but make sure that he doesn't get cooking again. And then if he does take a shot, we're going to call it a bad shot, sit him down, and not playing for an extended period of time.
Wow.
So in that is why I didn't want him coming back.
Yeah.
But he came back. Everybody, you had 2 leading scorers, 17, 15. Everybody else scored 10. No articles about him coming back at all. He's not top returners, not Ethan Dunn, and no thing people were calling like, is Ethan still at Montgomery County? What's going on? Is he still playing? And of course, some things you got to shield from your son because I don't want to put that in his head. Like, you know, so when we played Station, I said, man, you know, I told Jerron Brown, I told Reese, I told Coach over at Leestown, they're going to bring my son off the bench. They're not going to play him a lot. And then they say the same thing you said, Brian. Well, why would you stay? And it's just like I did my part to get him out of there. But we're not going to a fifth school. I'm not traveling and picking you up. Where we going to go at, bro? Bourbon County, Paris. And then I got to make all these loops. And we're on an island in Montgomery County. That's tough. So
no, well, I guess my statement was not to go to a fifth school. I didn't look at it as a fifth school. I looked at it as a coach, to me, based on what I'm hearing you say, going out of his way to make sure that Dunn doesn't shine. Okay, intentionally or not intentionally. That's what's taking place. So that's my point of commending you.
Oh,
Because yeah, that's my point. It's not about how many schools you go to. Nobody, I don't care about that.
right.
It's no different, if Stoops does something at the University of Kentucky towards my son, that's
tearing
personal.
that mother up.
That's personal. I mean, okay, if you come at me, I look at it one way. Okay, so but okay, I got this. But if you come at her and you come at my daughter and you come at my son, I don't have an understanding. I don't. And when I'm hearing you talk, I'm ticked off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because we know him and we know he's a good kid and we know he puts in the work.
Right.
And I know us as coaches, we have a hard time with other coaches that seem like that they don't do right by kids. I'm trying to use my words very carefully.
I don't have pocket care left. But
that's tough.
That's tough.
And that's tough when you see coaches that are blatantly
that's
not
what
doing right by kids.
Yeah,
but
that's what I meant. And I guess I want to move forward in a few seconds and talk about his experience in the Final Four.
Hey, before you do that, I want to say hi to my auntie. Make sure I get on this, and she wanted to shout us out. Hey, auntie, and Mr. Alvin Brown said he believes that him and Darrell can beat you and Corey 2-on-2.
Stop it, man. Come on, man. I'm still a problem, man. Come on, man. But and after the Frederick Douglass game, I mean not Frederick Douglass, but the Great Crossing.
Okay.
It was very disrespectful. My wife was upset. Once again, at Great Crossing, my homeboy Vince, assistant coach, took Ethan to get some pizza and was like, man, his wife was upset. Talked to my dad, Ethan was upset. So without going into great details, knowing how I can get, me and coach had a heart-to-heart in the back. So, and it was a conversation to where, you talk to my son a certain way, but in front of everybody it's very aggressive. But then you want to love him in public. I mean, in private.
In private,
so
yeah.
I told him, I said, man, give me that same energy that you give my son back here. I said, because I'll beat your ass back here, dog. He's like, and he was sitting down, but he wouldn't stand up. We had assistant coach back there. And honestly, that I was emotional right there because it's like I have a good kid, bro.
Yes.
I have a good kid.
Yes, he's a good kid.
So bad that I can kill you back here, man.
Yes.
So
that's what I meant.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you hit my note, Don. That's what I'm saying.
But then it's like when I talked to my dad about it, he was more like, you can, but if you do it now, it's gonna have a adverse effect even more so. Yeah. And after that conversation, it did. He told me, he apologized, said his wife told him it's been on his heart. He missed sleep, and he was coaching him hard, and she said he was doing too much. So his wife seen it. He said he was missing sleep on it. So he was gonna work towards doing things differently. They had several meetings, several other players quit, came back. It was pretty bad at the beginning of the season. But, Ethan did get hurt again this year. And he told Ethan that he needed him to quit. He said, if you don't want to play, just quit. So, of course, Ethan called me. I'm like, man, I'm down the street. I'm on my way. So I asked the athletic trainer, I said, what's up? She was like, he's cleared the I said, so why, what you say he's clearing? He's like, Daddy, my knee hurt. I said, he said his knee hurt. She's like, well, it's only he said it was 6 out of 10. I said, 6 out of 10. I said, is that running or standing? She said, stand. I said, have you seen him run? She said, no. I said, have you seen him cut? She said, no. I said, have you seen him jump? She said, no. I said, so how the hell you gonna give my son a full evaluation and clear him to play? She's like, well, I think that you're right. I said, I know I'm right.
I know I'm right.
Yeah, shoot. I said, you need to go tell his coach that, because he's talking about telling him to quit. I said, that's crazy. So then, of course, he goes back. This was after our first conversation. And then that's when it was, we respect you. We know we're not on the same terms, but take as much time as you need. When you come back ready. And Ethan found out if you want to play. And at that time, Ethan told me, he said, Daddy, I don't want to play no more. Do I have to play? And I said, right now, son, you are 18 years old and you can quit, but you have to look this man in his eye and be a man and tell him how you feel. It may change things, but then you can quit, but you don't have the luxury of walking away as a man. Man up, tell him how you feel. And then you can quit on your terms, look at him in his eyes and let him know how you feel. I said, but then on the other hand, y'all are gonna have a possibility of going to state. Y'all will. I said, and you quit, y'all go to state.
You'll be mad.
You'll be mad, but if you can ride out,
you'll feel like you
missed out. Not mad. He will be empty. He'll feel empty.
Yeah,
not mad.
And I knew this, and this was Christmas break. This was before Caden came back. You know, Ethan was hurt. So I'm like, this is real. So it's like, as a father, understanding this is like, can be like really y'all's year. And if that is an opportunity for you, I don't want to take that away from you either. Even though you're going to have to go through trials and tribulations. We left Paris. It is, you know, you started as a freshman. You went to station, took over the freshman, the starting job. Your junior, your other sophomore year, you started at station. You know, junior year, you started. This year, you was kind of up and down, on and off the bench. So, you know, Roy Booker told me early, he said, bro, you got to stop fighting his fights for him. And the older I get, I realize that I fought a lot of fights for him and didn't let him have the ability to fight his own fights. So that was yet another thing to where, like, this adversity, you need it. You need it at the next level. And honestly, everybody I talk to, they like, man, does a kid want to play? Does a kid? And I'm looking like, 10 years, yeah, you going to play? You, my time, my effort, you not, listen, bro, you going to write a check. If you don't, we going to have, so that was how, you know, but you got to go through some adversity, and you not wanting to play, it would crush me too. It'd be like, damn, you know, but the good thing about it, like his coach O'Hara called from Sussex, he loved him. He asked, how's he doing? Hey, he ain't doing so good, coach. I don't need to see no film. I don't need to talk to coach. Send him down here. We love him. I got my son coming down to coaching. I seen enough highlights of him. I know what we got. So the good thing about it is he matured. He's going to mature this year. So honestly, when my brothers used to see Ethan play, that, you know, that, oh man, he take plays off. He's kind of lazy, you know, but you know, you got a kid that works hard, plays 99% of the game. So it's kind of like, if I mess up, I'm gonna still play. If I'm tired and I want to come out, I'm gonna still play. So the one thing that going into the state tournament, he could either quit and hated the game and not wanted to play, but what it did to him by putting him down and playing, you know, because Ethan's a good kid. He's too good at times. He always wants to make you happy. And I say, Ethan, you care too much, bro. Because we had a conversation. I said, man, what are you doing, dog? You didn't even take a shot. He's like, well, I just want to play. I said, but you just want him to play is playing into this man's hands when you just playing, you're just another guy. So just playing, he can just put you on the bench. You're just running up and down the court. You're just out there. I said, so what is your goals? He said, my goal is just to play. I said, well, you playing, but you never let another man change your goals. Your goal should still be, you want to be all region. You want to be the best player in the state. So then once you change your goals and you diminish your goals down to, I just want to play. That's all you're just doing. It's just playing. I said, we just got beat and you just played a little bit. Why ain't you in the gym right now shooting? Why ain't you working? It's open. You ain't tired. Go shoot. Go work on your craft. Go do something other than just playing, but never let another man take your goals from you and change what you want for yourself just to fit in what he wants you to be, and still ain't going to be happy with that because he's still going to sit you down.
So, but the thing that you're saying is a good father moment. Okay. And the reason why I say that, based on what I've heard you say, that's a lot of stuff came at Don. I don't call him Ethan. I always say call him by his last name because that's your home is your last name. First names are given, last name is legacy.
Yes,
so
sir.
so with Don, with a lot of that coming at him, he's going to be doubt. So it sounds like as a coach, and I've done this a long time, he's just trying not to make a mistake to be out there. So if he does too much and it turns out wrong, they didn't give him the benefit of the doubt. So, and then you as the dad, you saw that, maybe not understanding it, but then you went, no, hold up. You don't let another man take your blessings. You don't do that. And that's what a lot of young black male young kids are missing, is that father that steps in and says, whoa, look at it from this perspective. And you say it, it's not a yell, it's called strong voicing. Okay. And people don't understand the difference. A strong voice means I'm trying to get your attention. Because if I text you that, I'm gonna put it all in capital letters.
Right.
So to get your attention. When we put something in capital, it catches our mind. It catches you. So I like that. So that moves us to the Final Four.
The Final Four.
Okay, the Final Four, and you played the greatest high school team in the nation.
Come on, man. And that moving forward, I told him that day, and I'm on him. I think it was probably 2 days before the game. He's in his room chilling, doing something, I don't know. And I was like, this is possibly the biggest moment that you're going to have in your career, even in college. The biggest stage. Maybe never see it again. So what have you done different to prepare yourself for this stage? I said, don't even answer me. But what have you done different to prepare yourself for this moment? He kind of looked at me. And, we got this thing to where I told him, I don't care if you play 1 minute. Be the best player on the court in that 1 minute. Show that you're the best. So you can't control what somebody else does, but what you can control is what you do in the meantime, and stop caring. Coach, you can't play uptight. You're gonna F up, you're gonna mess up every time.
Mess up more.
Stop caring. Stop being Mr. Goody Two Shoes, bro. You're a good kid, but you have to learn to not care and just be who you are. Because if you change up who you are, chances are the people, you're still not going to live up to who they trying to change you to be, and they're still not going to like you. Then you're going to be mad at yourself for not being you. So ball out, be you, be the best player on the court. And, coming into that game, you've seen that his time was limited in the first game. He played 15 minutes, but he did enough to where he hit some shots. He defended well. But when we moved to the North Laurel County, just look, if you watch the game, he didn't put Ethan in until 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. Even after playing good against Lawrenceburg, he played good, had 8 points, 5 assists, a rebound in 15 minutes. That's awesome. Played well. And I don't know how many steals. But you seem like he told me, he's like, Dad, I thought he was gonna sit me down that game and not play me. So this is what's underneath his head. Coach ain't gonna play me. And you could tell he didn't because he played him 3 minutes into the fourth quarter. Into the second quarter, he played 3 minutes. Then going into the third quarter after halftime, he played him 4 minutes. Like at the 4 minute mark is when he put him in. Even after he played well that first 3 minutes, he still wasn't going to play him. But once he got in, God dang, he balled. He was everywhere. Then my dude is on the phone. I'm talking to Jay Blunt. And he's like, bro, the commentators won't stop talking about Lil E. He's balling. Oh, he's talking about him again. Oh, man, they love him. We like, man, I'm up there with my big bro. Man, we cheering. He's on the Jumbotron, everything. So it's like, oh, man. So it's just beautiful. You got the stage. This man gave you an in, and and then he became the impact player. So now he got to put you on the stage.
Right.
Now you, because he's told me, he said, bro, when we was going through, he's like, man, I just want to be one of those guys again. I want to be a bench player. I want to be out there. So now you lived up to it. You balled out. And the next game, y'all playing Great Crossing, because I mess with Vince hard, Jeremy hard. We'd be on 4-way conversations. Wade went over there with Lil Santee. So I'm like, man, Montgomery County can beat Great Crossing, bro. If they win their first 2 games, because at first I'm a bitter dad at this point. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if I want them to win or not going and make it state, honestly, because down the pain to stop. But now we hear, I know basketball. So I said, man, if we go, we're going to win the first 2. We might end up being in the Final Four against Great Crossing. So, I'm like, I think we can beat them. So the game comes and he puts my man on the bench. The city's coming out for Ethan Dunn. His peoples are calling him. We heard you, man. We balling. My peoples is coming in from out of town. They coming from Columbus. It's so the city, we don't have anybody else in the city from Lexington. Holman from Great Crossing he's younger. But Ethan, he's a Dunn. I'm deep in Lexington. Our family's deep in Lexington. So when you hear Ethan Dunn, good kid, now he's balling out. He been quiet all year. This is like great. This was the game. And it goes to show that coach would much rather have Ethan on the bench and lose than have him in the game and try to win. And that summed up our season on a loss of playing him for 9 minutes. Now, he only played 15 minutes the other 2 games, which was more than he played in the district and the region. He's like playing 3 and 4 minutes, even though he was impactful. People calling me, fans is calling me, cities calling me. I'm like, I hate Montgomery County, and I want to say this is racist, but this predominantly white city, they love my son. Yeah. I'm hating everybody, but they show support. They're calling. They're wanting to know why. They're upset that he's not playing. So when the state comes, it was a great moment, but the way it ended with 9 minutes to go, and then to find out like he's on Great Crossing scouting report, like this dude's a problem. Ethan Dunn's a problem. We scouted him, and then y'all put him on the bench, and that leads into the scout report. Like that benefited Great Crossing because they was expecting him to have a good game, and they had things in place to stop him and things to overdo the defense, but then y'all didn't even play him.
Well, let me say this. I am. My wife is smiling because she knows the gerbil is going in my head, and I know coaches do this, and I've been doing this a long time. Okay, sometimes what coaches do, if they don't play your son, then it looks like they're right. If they play him, then people are going to say, why ain't you been playing him? And then they don't want to be wrong. Like you just said, I love what you said when you said they rather take an L than play your son to have more of a chance to take a W. And I've seen coaches do this all the time. It's where they already made in their mind that this one, and we met even at UK sometimes it looks like that.
It looks like it.
It's like they want this kid out here
to shine over.
So if you don't play that one, there's no competition.
Right.
Okay. And I've seen coaches do that, and I don't understand that because if you don't play them, you don't have a competition. If you play them, then all of a sudden people going up behind the coach, tapping on the shoulder, going,
"Why he ain't been playing more?
Four is not playing. Why?"
Yeah.
And you answered a question for me because at the Bryan Station game, I was there. Came over and said hi to you.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they're coming this way. He shoots a jumper. He hits. He gets a steal. He lays it in. Okay. Bryan Station calls timeout. Your son just came in the game. He ain't tired. Then all of a sudden at the break, he don't come out. And I promise you, I turned around. I was standing beside the AD of Bryan Station. I go, did he get hurt? That's exactly what I said because I did not understand the rotation. A person gets a three, gets a steal, gets a layup, and Bryan Station calls timeout because momentum is moving, which that's what you do. But you're expecting four to walk back out on the court. But in spite of all that, he's going to school.
But I told him, I said, man, Ethan, if you play well against Station and you play well against Great Crossing, top 5 teams in the state, you will be certified as a starter, and there's nothing, you'll be untouchable. But the way I'm looking at y'all's press break, this man is setting you up for failure. I talked to him when we was at Great Crossing and we was talking about that conversation. He's like, I'm not going to talk X's and O's with you. And I'm like, and you don't have to, but some things that you do against Station, a pressing team, you got to know your personnel. And you have height. Y'all have height. You don't put somebody in an empty backcourt like that by themselves against a pressing team like Station, especially we came from Station. We know how they press. But, I say, man, there's pros and cons. And, at the end of the day, I used to put a lot of pressure on Ethan. And I seen a post that said there's a lot of fathers, and I think they was pointing and talking directly to me, that put pressure on their kids and remove the fun and will replace the fun and love of the game with pressure. And when you say looking back on some of the things that I've done, I think I put more pressure, which sometimes remove the fun and joy by trying to fast forward his progress instead of looking at it as let's just work to get better. Even though we have a end, let's just work.
Hold on, but that's okay. Let's just work. Wait a second. Don't do that to yourself.
Yeah.
Let's just work is pressure. Okay. I get it. I understand what you're saying, and I'm not taking away from what you're saying, but I'm just saying from a father who did the same with Ty. Because my job is to make my son uncomfortable to get comfortable.
Right.
Okay. because that's what it is. Because there's no secret. There's billions of people that play basketball, but there's only a few that goes to the NBA. There's only a few that goes to college.
Right.
That's that pressure that when they get in the clutch game, that's why all the negative that your son went through and watching you be irritated and watching his mom be irritated, and this young man still was fighting. That's what you did. You put that in him. Yes, he had to shoot 20 more shots. Okay. But what he did is you prepared him for life when he goes off to school and he gets his, college degree and he gets a job, and all of a sudden here's that boss putting pressure on him to have this in or that in. And he's going to look back and he's going to go up to say, Pops, thank you.
Because you prepared him.
You are preparing. I'm serious. There is nothing wrong. People, it's all right. It's okay.
We can't stand that.
I can't stand that. Don't work.
We can't stand that. Like
if you teach your kid, it's all right. It's okay.
That's mediocrity.
Ty Bryant's gonna make you look bad. I'm just saying.
I think that's why I love Nick Saban so much because that's a mediocre mindset when you feel like that you.
Yes.
Or when people say you're doing too much or you're putting too much pressure on your kids, but
yes.
That's the only thing that you can't make a diamond without it going through intense pressure.
You can't.
It's not going to become a diamond, right? And so that's the same with life. In order to get to the next level, especially basketball, because basketball is not like football where there's 10 times more opportunities to be able to play. There's only 12 to a roster as opposed to 120, right? And so you got to be a dog in order to play basketball on the next level. And I don't care what level it is. One of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on was the fact that I love the fact that y'all weren't D1 or bust.
Oh, listen. Hey.
Listen, that's killing more, probably hurting more kids. And parents than anybody is putting the pressure that you gotta go D1 or you're D1. You're better than this. It's go get a free education.
Man, my son, when we were looking at Sussex as a D3 school, they don't offer aid, but that was still an offer of somebody that wants and believes in you with the ability to go in somewhere the following year to get a free education. And I do it quietly, but I think I'm up to maybe 15, 18 kids where I've gotten offers from the last 2 years since I started calling coaches. That's one of the biggest things that kids is like, if you don't have D1s beating down your door, you're not D1. Now, not saying that you can't be, but if you get an offer somewhere, the offer is the offer, bro. I mean, love it and understand that the transfer is open and D3s, NAIAs, D2s, JUCOs. We were posting prep schools. Man, anybody that wants you to move on to the next level is a plus. And we were grateful for any offer that.
I don't want this. And like I said, I've talked to a lot of dads, and I told you before, and I mean this, I'm very proud of how you're raising your son, because you and your wife, you have done a fantastic job. And what you was teaching him is the same thing we had to teach Ty, because Ty was very nice and polite. And I said, yeah, he still is. But sometimes I said, Ty, use the right words. But if that coach is doing something at you negative, you got to let them know. Don't do that. You ain't got to cuss and holler and all that, but make your point. And what I want to say this to you from a black man to another black man, I'm proud of what you've done with your son. I really mean that a lot, because if you didn't install that in him with all the stuff that his coach put him through, I mean, I don't know what your son would do. I mean, you really think about it, drugs, suicide, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, That's the strong part that I keep trying to tell you. You did it, because if that wasn't in him, going through that, when we live in a world, if I do this positive, I should get a positive result.
Mhm.
Right? That's what we want. If I don't put nothing into it, then I can't expect a positive result.
Yeah.
Your son put something in it, did well, and then all of a sudden, out of his control, he's sitting on the bench. Okay, it ain't like he's scoring 12 and giving up 12. No, he's playing D. He's hustling. He'll score 22. Next game, he'll pass more. Next game, he'll guard more. So he's doing all that, per se. And then all of a sudden, he's like, okay, where's my flowers? Where's my flowers? And then he ain't getting them from the coach. He ain't getting his playing time. And then all of a sudden, he's going back to when he was 8, 9, and 10, and you're like, let's go, let's go. So that strongness is in him. So when something negative in his life, in his future happens, he knows how to fight through it instead of just giving up. So
Yes.
that's a commend. I mean that to you and your lovely wife for doing that for him, because it's in him. And he don't realize that you put that in him. But then what happened? When they came at him, it was in him. So I commend you. I mean that.
I mean, I just think that's just huge. So Mr. Brown said, did your father encourage you to lead your son in a positive way as he did you and your 3 brothers?
Encourage us to he did. He told me, because I'm still young, still learning. So I still have a good relationship with my dad. And I'm like, oh, hey dad, man, what do I need to do, man? I want to say something to him, and for me to, like, you haven't seen me really say anything publicly, because and biting my tongue and not going off is, it needs to be said, but at the same time, even though my son's not being protected, it can always get worse. And not even trying to come off sounding like always. So you just going, no, I gotta let it play out. And
I think one of the worst things that parents do is when they air their grievances on social media, because especially if your child is you're trying to get them recruited, because that doesn't look good to coaches. Now, college coaches are they recruit the whole family. So they come through and they looking at your social media account to see how you interact with people, how you respond, how ratchet you are, because they want to see what they're dealing with as a family, not just as that player. So I know some people right now that are mad because their kids are not getting recruited. And I know the reason why they're not getting recruited is because they put too much foolishness on social media, because they love to bash other coaches. They love to bash coaches, or they love to talk about what they don't like or what coaches is doing, or they want to be couch coaches. And that's not a good look for people.
It's not even close.
It's not a good look. You're doing the right thing by not going to social media and saying it. That's the more mature way of being able to handling.
I remember sitting at a football game at Bryan Station, and a buddy of mine that coaches college was there, and he was going to offer a Bryan Station kid a scholarship that night. A negative thing happened, which your son never did, and he threw his helmet. Because if it was positive, he's cheering. A negative thing happened, a negative. And he saw him, and he goes, and watch this. If he calls me B, what does that mean?
Y'all are good friends.
We're very close friends. Only my close friends call me B. And he went, B, love you. I got to get out of here. And I was like, you ain't going to wait till the end of the game? He goes, no, I'm good. I mean, okay, all the negative, I never saw your son flip a chair. I never saw him. He just sat there. You can tell he ain't cheering. He's cheering, but he ain't all happy to be sitting on the bench, because and you don't want that. So I still going back to the same thing, Don. I mean this a lot. I commend you, and I commend your son. And he's going to what university? Let the people know.
Yeah, he's going to Midway University. Coach Akeem, and the same thing you said. He watched, and the good thing that came out of it is he mentioned it yesterday. Is he squeezed every ounce of love of the game in whatever time he got.
Yeah,
And the type of player, personality, not giving up, and he needs guys that get out there and give every effort every second, and that's what Ethan learned. I put him on the team in Indianapolis. G Hill, George, G3 All Indy, George Hill All Indy, the second team. Had a good year, and I told him, we're preparing you for this season because you're going to a team. They have a platoon system, so you have to learn how to play well in limited minutes, and you can do it. So it all came full circle to where the positive did come is now we realize that he does want to play basketball. He does love the game. And now his work ethic and putting forth the effort is he doesn't take plays off. He wants to play now. So it was a positive, and thanks to Akeem, like I say, Coach O'Hara at Sussex, they stood by him, and Akeem was at the games watching him, and he peaked at the right time and had a good showing, and it's just almost like what's to come once you unleash him next level with some more training, strength training, skill training, what it could be, because they play Moorhead this year. Okay. So so he still needs some development. He missed a lot this year.
Yeah, but he's gonna get that. You and I know, and
when you get to the next level,
you get to college,
you get it,
and your game gets better, because I remember coming from the Bowling Green High Purples. I had to throw that in there. And when I got to UK, you shaking your head. You know how we are. And all of a sudden I got better because I had a visual aid, or somebody had a little bit more of this than I had. Mm-hmm. I did this well, I didn't do that well. And it's like watching film, because he's going to watch older guys that's a little bit bigger and stronger. And they're going to, by not even showing him, but him watching them, mm-hmm. Because I learned this move coming off the line of scrimmage from an upperclassman. The coaches didn't teach me. I was like, oh, that's nice. And that's what you get when you get in college, because some guys do this well and some guys do this well. And you take that from that. So
I like that he's still close to home.
Well,
I think one of the things Coach Scott mentioned yesterday about the number of people that were in the transfer portal. And a lot of times the reason why the transfer portal, Coach Prince told us, he was a coach for 30 years in the NFL and the college. And he said that probably 80% of the kids that are in the transfer portal, most of them are homesick. Right. And so I like the fact that, he's away from home, but still close enough where you can get your hands on him. You can still support him. You still, go to his games without.
We're coming.
Because we're coming.
Yeah, we're coming to this. Yeah, and I'm gonna say this before we let you go, that if we wasn't playing a district game, I promise you, and I mean this, if this wasn't a district game against Frederick Douglass yesterday, they beat us today, and we beat them yesterday. If it was just a game, I would be like, Coach, I'm going to Montgomery, because she, what Miss Coach Bryan did, she had track practice. And she was like, she's like, I'm not going to track practice.
I was like, I hope y'all ain't mad. I said, but I'm going. I'm getting ready to miss practice because I gotta go see one of my babies and go. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the hug he gave me, oh my God, it just warmed my heart. That just his reaction when he see me that I was there, because you don't know whether or not it whether or not it makes a difference or not. And then you acknowledged me a couple times. I was like, oh wow, y'all really just
No,
yeah. I mean,
no,
I came home, I was teared up, wasn't I?
Yeah, and I said to her, I
was like, oh my God,
I said to her, I've been doing this a long time. And I love babies. I love all of them.
We do.
But I'm very fond of your son.
We are.
And that's a fact.
Yeah.
And you cleared up something for me, of your story, because I didn't understand why this happened to this happened. And then it had to do with the last name means more than the first name. I got to do my family. We're done. We have to stay. We have to stay. I have to make decisions that it may hinder one part of my family, but it's going to help the whole family.
Yeah,
and that's
I'm born and raised Lexington, and my kid, my daughter, it helped them, but she hates it up here. I mean, but she hates it. She's at HBCU now. She's like, I can't wait to get to Louisville, but
she won't even. Hey, hold up, Doug. She's so bad she ain't going to Kentucky. She's going to Louisville. She's going to K-State.
She's going to Louisville. But that's.
Oh my God, that is so hilarious.
Up here, it ain't been not one shooting, not one murder. Yeah. We can walk. My son could walk around without his poo shiesty on, and he was messed up.
That's beautiful.
And he's up there. He's in Louisville with Austin, and he's working, doing construction.
Smooth.
He's going to Austin. So so I'm gonna have 3 kids in college this year.
Okay. I'm gonna stop you right there. There is probably nothing more besides I wanted everybody to hear y'all's story, because I wanted people to understand about the whole the D1 and bust. We wanted to break that myth, right? No. I also wanted them to hear your story about just the different schools he went to and the decisions that y'all had to make. That was important. Mm-hmm. Another thing about your story, why I wanted you on, was I needed people to know that your daughter started late and she also got.
Yes.
Man, we could dig in. I know we don't have time because they hit my daughter.
But I gotta talk about your oldest son too, because listen.
Hold up.
Listen.
Let me say this. In our 16 years, we don't bicker. We really, we have moments. We're married, and that happens.
Right.
But when she goes, listen, I go, oh Lord, I don't.
No, listen. Your oldest baby enrolled himself at Maysville to go get a trade to be an automotive.
Mm-hmm.
Listen. I don't know what Nina is getting ready to major in, but I hope it's in accounting or marketing to help the oldest one get his business going, and same with Ethan, so that they could do a family business. Call me, I'll help y'all work that out.
Man,
that probably got me even more excited than Ethan and Nina's offers.
Again, Coach Bryant keeps going back. He keeps going back to one thing. What is their last name?
Done.
And what did you and the wife install in your babies? Again, I'm getting passion mode right now.
Well, we both are, because
that is what people don't understand.
People don't understand that
sometimes strong love works. It's gotta work. You can't just
still work.
And because what you're doing is that they are going to be, if God continues to bless them, amen. The boy's gonna live to be 82. The girl's gonna live to be 90.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you've given them to some 18 until God calls them home.
Yes, sir.
And people don't realize that you didn't set them up for 17, 16, 15, 14. You set them up for 18 on. You and the wife. Let me make sure we clarify that. Both of y'all did that. And that's what I've always appreciated y'all from back in the day. The way, mom and dad had y'all, the way y'all were, how y'all view things. And then in the blessing part is when he came, and I have to throw that out again, when he came and played for me at Crawford. And
we loved him. He's
and
one of
I
our
put him in
favorites.
positions and he had no idea what he was doing because playing for me is
hard.
It ain't easy.
Yeah.
It's hard for him.
Hey, we had a kid the other day. I promise you, this is what this kid said. They said, well, how was coach when he coached you? Now he's a junior now, and I think he's at Bourbon County, Paris of Bourbon County. And he said, his exact words were, he said, I just remember making a tackle and coach getting on me. And they said, for what? Making a tackle? He said, I didn't read my right keys. And coach got on me because if I don't, eventually they're going to score.
Mm-hmm.
He said, when I made the tackle, I didn't read the key. I just went and got the guy. And everybody clapped and coach said, come here. And I said, you remember that? He goes, that was off of my first team back in the day.
And I think it was the first team when you came and they went to the championship. Y'all's first year.
Oh, that was, he was on our first year.
Number 4 on the bottom row.
Yep.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what the year.
Yeah, with Man
and Mickey.
And Mickey.
Yep.
James
Rocky.
But and the funny thing about that team, the year before we got there, they were loaded.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of those kids didn't even play, varsity because they were loaded.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, I kept saying to your son, God, I wish I'd have coached you for 2 years.
Yeah.
I kept saying that because his IQ of football was just amazing.
He was just absorbing everything like a sponge.
And there's no way he stopped doing that when he went off to other schools. It was in him. It was inbred. So this is what I do.
No, you're not going to go nowhere. He's not going nowhere.
Okay, this is what I do.
I got one more question. Mr. Brown said, did your brother, who's a boxing enthusiast, give you any advice of the importance of encouraging Ethan to fight against all odds or any practical advice?
He did. Corey, Corey. Hey, man.
Brown was good seeing Corey and
Brown
Tara. I hadn't seen them in forever.
Brown knows what he's doing, man. He put it in there good. Corey's Corey's
yes.
Corey's different. Corey's he's still big bro, so he wants to go down the stairs and erupt arena. I'm holding him back like, no, dog. We all gonna be in jail. If they gonna put that
hey, I already know. Corey understands.
Yeah, Corey's really instrumental because Corey got Ethan involved in boxing. We was at a barbecue of my mama's house in Dayton, and me and Corey put on gloves and boxed a little bit, and his body blows only. So then he got Ethan in there, and Ethan, he didn't hear the body blows only and touched Corey a couple times, and that was quick. And Corey was like, dang. So Ethan he'll be a good boxer, and his personality is well. So I think what Corey did is getting him, putting those gloves on him. He does box. He has his own boxing gloves, and he's level-headed. So I think a lot of that came from Corey. And Corey's very impactful with my kids, and we've all grew up together, and he's always been in their life. So the things like I don't know if Coach Bryant remembers, but we had a conversation when my son was getting in some trouble, and I talked to Coach Bryant, and he gave me some good advice, and he was right. He said, hey, they love their big bro, look at those bros. They probably unlocking, opening doors, and watching. And they were too. They look, little Nina. He called my daughter. Hey, Nina, open up the door. Climb through her window. She ain't saying nothing. You know, he coming home in fresh clothes, and they giving him clothes because he's like, because you said, hey, bro, is he changing clothes? I'm like,
wow, you remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember. You said, hey, he's gonna change clothes, and his brothers are gonna help him. His brothers and sisters, they're gonna help him. So, and they were. So you know it. So then the next time something happened, it was just like, hey, don't y'all open the door for y'all's brother. Call first. You know, so you know it takes a village. So
it takes a village.
Alvin knows, you know, Dad, I reach out to coaches. That's why I invited y'all, because y'all being instrumental in the training.
We were so thankful for the invite.
Man, y'all gonna be Coach Bryant, Mr. and Mrs. Coach Bryant. He's still Coach Bryant to me. Like I knew him when I was a kid. I mean, and he's still Coach Cisco. You know, he's cool now, but it's like that.
Hey, let me make sure. I'm always like, what did a former player say? Are you cool now because you ain't coaching me? He said, "But you trip sometimes."
No, when you was a counselor, you know, because you was mean, man. It ain't all this laughing and joking. It was none of that. He was a straight up heart. So we seen Coach Brian. He was. And you know, he sits in there. And
I had something to do with that.
Yeah, he was a problem. So he kept us in line because we came from East End, West End, North, and it's probably the worst of the worst kids all come together. And in order to have us act right on UK's campus, to do, you needed a Coach Bryant. And
absolutely.
But the greatest thing someone said to me today, and actually it was Tony Davis, because Tony Davis was in that. And somebody else was making this comment, and they said, we figured out how much you loved us when that professor said something to us and you went off on the professor. And you was like, do not talk to my kids that way. You know,
and we don't play about our kids.
And then they realized, y'all realized it wasn't your group, but they realized, wait a second, no. They're gonna do the right thing because I know y'all looking for a reason to kick us off this campus, and we're not gonna give it to you. We're not gonna give it to you. We still gonna be kids, and I always said, if you do something and I correct you and you stop, that's human. But to ignore me is when I get irritated, because I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it to make sure you get something that they don't want you to have. And that's what I loved about it. So I know we kept you a while.
Yeah, we can ready to let you go. But Mr. Brown said before he retires, he must commend your parents, Darrell and LaSalle, who he has known for 50 years, on their guidance.
They the best, you know. And that same thing with my dad. He laughs like Coach Bryant, you know.
Now,
he wasn't a nice guy. Hey. The way he laughs and smiles and looks at my kids, let me tell you about who this man really is. But yeah, they did us well, and you know, it is good to where, you know, you I always say my dad he never whooped my butt for no reason. You know, and to have that type of father figure that was no nonsense. To where now we're like, I always looked up to him, but now we're friends.
Yeah.
And for him to call me sometimes for advice, I mean, it's made amazing to have a father that, like, you know, you spoke on earlier today. That's a key point that's missing is, you know, and that's a lot to where now, you know, we raise kids. You know, that's when I was like, man, I'm never going to whoop my kids the way my dad whooped me. And Ethan and Nina, it worked. BJ, he needed some whoopings. He needed his butt whooped early on, and I did. And he got out of control. I was able to reel him back. But my mother and father, the way that they raised us and what they instilled in us to to be men, to be accountable. My kids love them to death. And my dad showing up, my aunts and uncles. My mom definitely would have been there, but she just left and went back home on Monday. And, everybody else showing up. That was a testament to how big of an impact, my children had on the city for everybody to come out and show them that much support. The photographers, the radio station covering it, Pee Wee football coaches. And we was talking about that at dinner. We was like, Coach Bryant is football coach, and she's a lady. And when he said his football coach, everybody was looking and they couldn't find his football coach. Everybody's like, who? Where's he at? Where's he at? And I'm like, no, she's his football coach, Miss Bryant right here. She's a problem too. She's smiling, but she's not like that on the field.
No. Here's the best one. One of our kids, and we'll let you go. This was hilarious. We was watching film. Was it 2 seasons ago?
Yeah.
Or 3 seasons ago? Okay, we've been there 6 years. And I'm standing there, and all of a sudden, she says something to me. I go, I ain't scared of her. I don't care what she does. I ain't scared of her. The kid goes, I am. She didn't hear him. I was rolling. I was laughing so loud. Everybody turned around and was looking at me like, Coach,
was crying.
I was in tears. It's just the way he said, he goes, I am. And but here's the difference. I think time changed a little bit, because even like at Crawford, and your son can tell you, a little bit different than coaching y'all or being in the NYSP program, is I think I'm still the same, but older people that I've coached said, no, you ain't the same. And I said, but my main objective of being the same or not, I just want the same results.
And that's
and if my results are the same, then I'm gonna stay coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And my results and our result at Crawford has been there. And I just got a compliment today about how we've changed the program, where you can go to a game, like even my first year with your son, how there was no yelling and cussing and we have parents that live in the East, they would actually come over and watch us practice, and no kids is cussing and parents ain't fighting each other.
We never missed a practice either. I mean,
no.
At Culture, we all stood around and watched. Even when it got cold, we might be in our cars.
Yes.
We never missed a practice.
I always thought y'all loved the practice, because when I said practice was over at 6:30, it was over.
Yeah.
They were in the car, because I'll be like, guys, let's go. And they were like, why do you do that? I said, because I have to appreciate the parents' time.
Mm-hmm.
They've been to work all day. They want to go home themselves and unwind, and like somebody asked me, they said, my parents' meeting, when were they? We'll tell y'all, just get out of the car. There's our parent meeting. Get back in your car, go home. But anyway,
we can't have a great program, especially starting off, if y'all weren't great parents.
Y'all brought in. Yes.
Y'all were a part of our success too.
Only had 2 parents, and remember, and I dismissed their kid. I was like, no, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
I'm not having,
not
my name ain't MF. My mama didn't name me that.
And I've had a couple that, like, again, that's gone to social media. She talked to them all crazy. No.
Well,
what you're not getting ready to do.
But here's the funniest thing about social media to me. I don't look at it.
Yeah.
So if you cuss me out in Spanish, that don't bother me, because I don't know what you said, so I don't care. I mean, that's how I view things. It doesn't matter to me. Just like it's going back to you, and I keep saying we're going to let you go because I know you got to get up. But it is, sometimes you have to stay with your faith, and you got to stay with your belief, no matter what people say to you. And I still say, when I walked up to you that day and I said, you keep doing what you're doing. And I told Derek Talbot, the same thing. because I kept hearing people say stuff. And you have never heard somebody say, Coach Bryant, Cisco Coach Bryant said, because I don't say nothing about people. People have the right to live their life the way they want to do. Okay.
Because we sure don't care about what people think.
And then the objective is you want everybody to appreciate you and like you. I don't care who you are. You want that. But then when they don't and they trying to figure out a way to throw salt at you and throw the devil at you, then you got to be like, I'm good. I know I'm right about it. And the smartest thing, what did you do? You didn't go to this person. You didn't go to that person. You went to your family. You went to your wife. Let's discuss this. And that's what I do. I come home and she's doing something and I'm supposed to just stop doing it because you're talking. I say, babe, I need help on this one. I don't know. Then she'll go ahead. And then I go, no, you ain't listening. And then we'll sit there and she'll come in, boom. And then the word I use is I'm processing information. Like when she says something to me, she does it now, is she'll process it and come back and give me an answer. Because, I got something big.
Because if somebody comes at you about, something negative, the first thing I'm getting ready to do is pop off.
Yeah, she pops off.
Because I don't play about him.
She'll pop off. And I just sit there and go, But anyway,
thank you.
Thank you for
coming and sharing your story.
Well, hold on. We keep saying wife. What is your wife's name?
Dina.
I already know her name. I want him to say it.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Where's the baby? Where's the baby at?
She
come back.
She was just in here.
This right here. Did she go to bed?
So I think it's she. I think she's she's 5 years old, almost 6. She still sleeps.
The last time that's why my point, because y'all had just had her.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah,
when
we did.
He was there, so he hadn't seen her.
She just came in the picture.
Yeah, that was her.
And she's a problem. She's
Hey,
baby.
You didn't have to use the word when you went. She's
the baby.
But anyway,
she's so sweet, man. It's.
Hey, do us a favor. We can look it up. And people say this, and I hope you really hear us. Anything you need, and we can help and do. If he needs this or
whatever we can do to support.
I really mean that. And people,
whatever he needs.
I know people say that, but we really mean this. And we do this. This is what we do.
We don't play about none of our kids.
If we coach you, you are in my circle. And always. So we'll be out. And how many kids that I've coached way back in the day, like yourself, walk up to me and like, boom,
mad love.
And the difference is I feel older than I look because y'all grew up and you say, let me introduce you to my wife. And I'm going, oh gosh. And then my favorite saying is, how old are you now? And then when they tell me the age, I go, oh Lord.
But that's the thing, a good thing about teachers is you would recognize a teacher like, y'all look the same. But then they kind of looking at you kind of like, remind me again who you are. And then you tell me like, oh my God. So you look the same, So when you see Coach Bryant from back in the day to Coach Bryant now,
he's exactly the same.
Still in shape. I don't know what you're over eating, man. I need to I'm trying to trim down myself, but you're still in shape. So
well, thank you. I saw Bryant, a kid that I coached at Bryant Station, and he was working with Fayette County, and he was like, and he saw me and he goes, will you please just age a little bit? We look like the same age. And I said, no, hey, trust me. But anyway, love
you.
Thank you.
And the wife as well.
Hug Dean. Till next time we'll get her on when she gets her hair done.
Yeah. Hey, she was on me because I got that thing. I
thought she looked good yesterday, so I don't know what she's talking about.
Well, she, women, she had her braids in, and she's like, you don't just. I'd be like, I've been planning for a month. I just ain't rolled it out, but I didn't let her know. So, So
well, I appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for coming on, telling your story. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all.
Love y'all too.
See you next time.
All right, dude. Tell the brothers I said what's up.
I will do.
All right.
Later.
And how about that? That's big time. That's very good stuff. And you know, and I said to you when he was talking, and I was tapping you because he answered questions that I wanted to know.
Yeah, because that was
But I'm not. I don't care what Mike
everybody
or
else
Eric or
is
Lisa
saying.
who says it over here. I don't care what you want to say. And it makes sense. And the picture, the point of him moving to Montgomery County.
Had nothing to do
with sports.
It was about his family, protecting his kids,
and that's what the father does. That's the mom, and the whole point is mom had to buy into that.
Absolutely,
because a lot of times we can want it, but if mom doesn't, it doesn't normally happen. It's not going to happen, you know. But like he said, he's able to do this in the city of Montgomery County, the town of Montgomery County, embrace his kids.
Well, I can't wait for you to meet Coach Akeem Scott, the head coach for Midway. He was pretty cool. I love his story as well. We're going to have him on next week.
All right.
I am looking forward to. Hopefully, Coach Washington will be on, and I'm going to be.
Phuket?
No. Coach Marion Washington.
Okay. When you say Phuket's
and she's a legend, and she's probably one of the top. She's probably my top 3 of all time coaches that I've looked up to, and I can't wait to have her on there. But thank you, Mr. Brown, for being on. Thank you, our niece Mika, my auntie.
And everybody that didn't,
and everybody that doesn't come on and let us know that you're on here. We appreciate y'all coming on. If you catch the replay.
But real quick, hold up. Final 4.
Oh, the Final 4. Who you got a Final 4?
Okay, well, you know, you got Florida and Auburn, and you know what's funny? What is the common denominator in the women and men Final 4?
There's 2 SEC teams.
Not just that, the 2 SEC teams are both playing each other.
Oh,
you know, Texas and South Carolina and the women, and then Florida and Auburn, and
gotta play each other.
Yeah, I just thought that was funny
because they don't want it to be like the college football where the two SEC teams will beat each other, and so they don't want the SEC to make sure that they're guaranteed to win.
Well, what that said is USC was the number 1 seed, and they lost their horse, and now UConn is the number 1, but the men, all of them are the number 1 seed. So I'm taking in this game, you know. So I'm taking Auburn over Florida, and then I'm taking Houston over Duke, and I'm taking Houston over Duke, and Auburn over Florida. But Duke looks good.
Duke looks good.
You know, they got more than just Cooper. They got a nice little squad, but you know, hopefully Houston can contain the inside, because Duke got some big kids on the inside that's doing their thing. It's going to be beautiful. Going back to the Florida Auburn game, it's going to be beautiful guard play, because both of them guards are very nice, averaging 18 to 17 points a game. But I'm taking Auburn to win the national title. Most people got Florida or Duke. I'm taking Auburn.
You're taking Auburn to win the national title
on the men's side. Who you taking?
Florida.
You're taking Florida, okay, to win the national title. So who are they playing in? You got Duke or Houston in the championship game against Florida?
Duke.
Okay, you got Duke and Florida. Okay, so we both are disagreeing with what it is. With the ladies, there's no question. She can tell you who I'm taking.
He's taking UConn.
I'm taking UConn to win it all. I hope he wins it again. Texas and South Carolina, I'm taking. Hopefully South Carolina gets there, and UConn beats UCLA, and I'm taking UConn to win it all. So who you taking?
Well, you know, Dawn is my girl.
Dawn's your girl.
So I want Dawn to win and do a repeat, but I believe that Gino is going to get his ring.
Did she answer the question?
Yes, I answered it.
Who are you taking?
UConn is going to win it.
Oh, so you got UConn too?
I got UConn winning it.
So we got
winning it all.
You got UConn winning it all.
But the post play of UCLA and Texas is going to be tough with the girls. The only thing that's going to hurt South Carolina is that they don't have a strong post player. Fagan is playing better, but she's not like the other girls. So Mr. Brown has Florida winning the championship. He got Florida over Auburn and Duke over Houston, with Florida winning the championship.
Okay. Well, the reason why.
Who you got for the girls, Mr. Brown?
But the reason why my thing is about UConn, that their superstar don't have to do everything for them to score.
The girl strong underneath is cold-blooded. The freshman post player.
Yeah, but
she's cold.
But what makes it cold is
she's
the
cold.
other two young ladies from the outside
and they're good too.
They're hitting their jumpers, and they play a little defense.
Daisy Fudd is good, and then the other little guard is good.
So anyway, UConn is our both pick for the ladies. I want
South Carolina to win.
And I got the War Eagles winning it.
And I think Florida's gonna win.
My man
Miss Brown got Florida winning too.
Okay, well, I guess we're done.
All right, we're done.
All right, very good, good stuff. And next week, who's on?
Coach Marion Washington.
Coach Marion Washington. So everybody should be good.
That's gonna be real good.
All right.
Because most of y'all don't know who she is and need to know who she is.
Right.
There would be no Don Staley without Coach Marion Washington.
Right.
How about that? All right. Oh, he said Staley and the Gamecocks win the last 2 games and win it all. Okay. All righty. Well, love y'all. Thank you, Mr. Brown, and thank everybody for coming on. And we'll see y'all next Wednesday.
Bye.
Bye-bye.